Okay, as Sunday night, ushers in Chaf of Iyar, Yesod should be Yesod, which is the Yortzeit of the Ramchal, Moshe Chaim Luzzatto. Therefore, in honor of the upcoming Yortzeit, I want to say over ideas from the Ramchal. So, on this week's parasha, we have the commandment against, lending with ribis, lending with interest. Now, lending with interest has two terms in the Torah. And we have to understand what they allude to. There's two terms in the Torah that allude to ribis, that allude to interest. One is neshech, right? One is called neshech. The other is called, marbis. Marbis, or lashon ribis. Ribis is derived from marbis, the latter term. So the question is, neshech we know literally means to bite. To bite. And marbis is milashon rav, much, many, to increase, like laharbot. So now, why is interest, the isra of interest, which is also called neshech and marbit? That's the that is a question we're going to throw out on the table. Okay? So the Ramchal, without mentioning his questions, he opens up with a chazal that chazal tell us in the Gemara Bava Metzia that anyone who lends with ribis, God forbid, a Jew who lends beribis to another Jew, will not get up at Tchias HaMesim. Right, there's that's his punishment, Mida Keneged Mida. The question is, why is it Mida Keneged Mida? That's the question that the Ramchal wants to resolve, because all of the Schar Varosh is Mida Keneged Mida. So why is the Mida Keneged Mida for a person who lends beribis, right? He doesn't get up by Tchias HaMesim. Right? So he says like this, that the Nachash, right, the snake, right, who represents all evil, right, like the Nachash HaKadmoni, right, the snake. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "Me afar lachmo, afar tochal." Right, Hashem cursed him; he should eat dirt. That means that the Nachash's place in reality is dirt. Vafar tochal. Right, it's in the Genesis, in the Parshas, HaKadosh told them, he told the Nachash, you're going to eat dirt, which shows, what? Yeah. Right, again, and that's also true. He also lost his legs, but says the Ramchal, and that all shows, right, that that all shows that the Nachash's place in reality is in dirt, right, beneath man. Right? He's been pushed down, that he's on the lowest point in reality, and we're supposed to be above him. Right. And of course, when we keep him down there, right, so that's when it's called that the good is dominant and the evil is downtrodden. So what does it say? Apropos, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu explains to the Nachash how it's going to be from this point onwards. Right, Veva Arshes, I'm going to put now an adversity between you and the children of man and woman. Who Yeshachar, he gets you by the head. Okay, but you get him by the heel. You get him at the heel. And that you get because the Nachash is in the ground. He never looks up because his food is the earth. He eats dirt. So the only part of human being that's most easily accessible to him to smite, to hit, right, is the heel. And then how does he do it? He does it by biting. So says the Ramchal an amazing idea. Think about this. When the Nachash bites the human being, he's raising his head up because he eats dirt. He always faces downwards, where his food source is. So, the biting of the heel of man is, besides the fact that it's deadly, but also represents that the evil is rising in reality, rising up. Right? And rising up and taking a bite out of the goodness. Taking a bite out of the goodness. The evil is supposed to stay downtrodden beneath us. And when it rises, it's biting us. It's taking a bite out of us because it's not meant to be up there. It's taking away from our space. So it says the Ramchal, when a person lends Ribis, so you're taking a bite out of this guy's finances, right? But the Torah outlawed that. When you do that, you cause the Nachash to rise. Right? You're taking a bite out of his finances. So mamish connected that. The offer is like rising out of the dirt and taking a bite out of the heel. And if you don't shoot a Nachash away, he's also marbeh. He increases. He starts crawling up the leg. He had already increased his place in the world by raising himself up to your heel. He's going to from there. He could climb up more. Right? You cause the Nachash to rise, and to take a bite out of the goodness of reality, and to start invading and infiltrating reality, increasing his leverage, increasing his standing in reality. You cause that by taking ribis from someone. So just like, the ribis is called neshech umarbit, a bite and an increase, because that's what you're causing. By taking a bite out of this guy's finances, you're causing cosmically is that the Nachash rises, takes a bite out of the heel of the human being, and he increases his standing in reality. So you have to be punished mida keneged mida. You cause the Nachash to rise up from the dirt. You have to go down to the dirt and stay there. And that's the mida keneged mida. That the person who lends Ribis doesn't get out of the ground by Tchias HaMesim. Because all mankind are meant to get out of the ground. Because our place is above ground. That's why when you're dead, it's only temporary. Right? But you cause the Nachash to leave the ground and rise up and take a bite out of reality and increase his standing in reality. Mida keneged mida, you cause him to rise up. You got to go down and stay down. And that's why, a person who's malva Ribis, he does not get up by Tchias HaMesim. We're going to end this off with an anecdote from Rabbi Kiva Eger, that in Posen, where he was the Rav, there was a guy who lent with Ribis, a guy who lent with interest, he was really, and he did all types of other terrible things to the Jewish community, right? So, sadly, he was a Jewish guy, but nonetheless, he acted terribly, acted like a goy, and did a lot of harm to the Jews, including lending with Ribis, amongst other things. So when that guy died, that bad guy died, the community decided now it's payback, and they told, the widow and the orphans, the surviving kin, right? We're not burying this guy until you guys make good on all the money he stole from us. Right, so we're demanding for burial fees. We're calculating all the money he stole, right, and by Ribis or other ways, and he has to give that all back to the community. You're the estate, and then we'll bury him. So whatever, the kids of wife and kids of this guy, they were no big tzaddikim either, having watched him do these terrible things all these years, right? So, they did, instead of doing what the Chevra Kadisha demanded, in Posen, in the town of Rabbi Kiva Eger. So instead of doing what the Chevra Kadisha demanded, they snitched. They went to the magistrate, they went to the local, judge or governor, and snitched on the community that they're doing terrible things. We want to bury our father, our husband and father, and Jewish community is doing terrible things and being very inhumane, not letting us bury him. So the magistrate summoned Rabbi Kiva Eger and said, what you're doing is terrible. It's so inhumane. Said, no, Rabbi Kiva Eger says, we're just charging burial fees. What's wrong with that? Costs money. Right? So it says, the magistrate, how much do you regularly charge, when a guy drops dead? How much do you regularly charge, the family, for the burial? So Rabbi Kiva Eger, he didn't want to lie. He said the number, what they regularly charge. So the magistrate asked him, that's like 1/10 or less than what you're charging this poor family. How do you explain that? He said, I'll tell you how I explain it. All the other people that we bury, they're good Jews. They're not really buying the plot. They're just renting it because we believe in Tchias HaMesim. This lowlife who lent with Ribis, he's not getting up by Tchias HaMesim. He's not renting it. He's buying it. That's why it costs more than 10 times the amount, because he's not renting. He's buying. Okay, the schus of the Ramchal, Yogen Aleinu Val Kol Yisrael.